Have you ever wondered why narcissists, the masters of manipulation, sometimes go silent or avoid their familiar prey? Have they truly changed, or is there a hidden scheme lurking behind their actions? The truth is often more complex than you think. Sometimes it is shame, the emotion they despise most, that causes narcissists to hesitate. Shame is an emotion that narcissists find deeply uncomfortable because it threatens the perfect image they've worked hard to construct. The arrogance and superiority they project often serve as a protective shield, concealing deep-seated feelings of insecurity and self-loathing. When faced with shame, narcissists often choose to flee to avoid the pain, rather than confronting it head-on. Narcissists frequently use hoovering as a tactic to lure their victims back into the toxic cycle. Yet there are moments when even these purveyors of suffering hesitate at the threshold of manipulation. This hesitation stems from the haunting specter of shame that lingers beneath their proud facade. Despite their outward appearance of indifference and detachment, narcissists bear emotional wounds that are difficult to heal. Shame, like a sharp dagger, cuts deep into their psyche, making them pause before deciding whether to resume hunting their former prey. This hidden vulnerability reveals a contradictory and conflicted aspect of the narcissist's soul. Oh, what secrets lie behind the mask of pride that make narcissists hesitate before their familiar prey? What are the hidden fears that lead them to shy away from their usual manipulative tactics? Don't look away. Join me as we uncover the mystery right now. Their image is damaged. The silence of a narcissist after a failed manipulation is not a coincidence. Sometimes it's a sign that you've struck a critical blow to their Achilles heel. Perhaps, during a phase of devaluation and discard, you found the courage to stand up, breaking free from the chains of control they imposed. Instead of silently enduring their tactics, you responded in a completely unexpected way, catching the narcissist off guard. Your actions, though seemingly simple, carried the weight of a fatal blow, exposing their true nature to those around them. Indisputable evidence, such as messages, emails, or witness testimonies, laid bare the wrongdoings they worked so hard to conceal. For narcissists, such exposure shatters the perfect image they meticulously crafted. They thrive on their reputation, admiration, and the praise of others. These are not just their lifeblood, but also their tools for maintaining power and control. When unmasked, their fragile ego is forced to confront a brutal truth. They are neither perfect nor admirable, but rather despicable in the eyes of others. This revelation delivers a devastating blow to their sense of self, plunging them into shame and deep emotional pain. For someone accustomed to manipulating and controlling everything, being rendered powerless by your defiance is an unbearable experience. The shame narcissists face feels like a black hole that consumes everything. It drives them to flee, cutting off all contact with you, and in some cases, erasing you entirely from their lives. They cannot bear to face their own failures or admit that the perfect image they created has crumbled. Trapped in a quagmire of negative emotions, they avoid confronting their own defeat. This is why their charming return, or hoovering, often falls into silence. In their retreat, narcissists are not regrouping to change, but rather recoiling from the overwhelming shame of being exposed. Their silence is a shield, a way to avoid acknowledging the reality of their shattered facade. They need time to whitewash after your departure. You vanish from their life like smoke in the wind. No explanation, no trace. All communication is severed, every remnant erased. The narcissist is left bewildered, stunned by your sudden disappearance, like a wild animal lost in an unfamiliar forest. This cold silence strikes their proud ego like a thunderous slap, leaving them reeling in a way they've never experienced before, utterly out of control. They are caught in a whirlwind of shame and humiliation, not only because you left, but because they now face probing questions from those around them. Why did they leave you? This question stings their fragile pride, forcing them to confront an uncomfortable reality. They were the one abandoned. This is a severe blow to the perfect image they worked so hard to construct in front of others. Instead of proudly declaring that they ended the relationship, they must reluctantly accept the bitter truth. They lost control this time. In a desperate attempt to salvage their wounded ego, the narcissist quickly assumes the role of the victim. They weave stories portraying you as the betrayer, the cruel and heartless one. By projecting their negative behaviors onto you, they hope to fill in the gaps of the narrative they can't explain. Their lies are carefully dressed in pity and false tragedy, crafted to convince others that you are the one at fault. Notably, they will temporarily halt all attempts to reconnect with you, not because they've given up, but because they need time to solidify their story. They understand that if they try to haul you back while actively smearing your reputation, their contradictions will become glaringly obvious. Thus, they keep their distance, at least until they feel it's safe to re-enter your life. They fear failing at hoovering you. Hoovering is a familiar tactic of narcissists, designed to pull their targets back into the cycle of manipulation. It's not just an attempt to re-establish contact, but a means to regain the control they've lost. However, when they realize that you've completely severed yourself from their influence, a wave of shame and helplessness overwhelms them. They begin to recognize that all their usual strategies, flattery, eliciting pity, threats, or cajoling, no longer work. This doesn't just wound their fragile ego, it creates a profound sense of failure, something narcissists find nearly impossible to accept. Shame, usually buried beneath their arrogant facade, starts to rise powerfully to the surface. Confronted with the reality that they can no longer control you, the narcissist may retreat to avoid facing the sting of defeat. For them, your rejection isn't just a blow to their self-esteem, but also a collapse of the power they once wielded over you. They may feel exposed, their true nature laid bare for others to see. However, this retreat isn't always permanent. Narcissists often bide their time, waiting for the right opportunity, hoping you'll let your guard down or show vulnerability in the future. Even so, their temporary withdrawal reflects a critical truth. At that moment, they have lost control, and this is a clear sign that you've reclaimed ownership of your life. By standing firm and resisting their hoovering attempts, you assert your independence and shatter their illusion of dominance. This not only protects you from falling back into their toxic cycle, but also sends a powerful message. They no longer have any hold over you. They fear you seeing their inner weakness. Behind the confident exterior, narcissists are fragile souls who constantly fear their emotional wounds being exposed. Weakness, the possibility of being seen through, or the feeling of losing power are their worst nightmares, which they tirelessly avoid. For them, revealing any sign of need or desire for someone else is akin to admitting defeat, something utterly unacceptable. Because of this, the act of hoovering an ex, a common tactic to reel someone back in, is sometimes avoided. For a narcissist, initiating contact after a breakup can backfire, as it implicitly acknowledges their need for you. This goes against the strong and invincible image they strive to maintain. They know that if they reach out to you, it hands over control to you, breaking the dominant position they always aim to hold. Thus, after a breakup, a narcissist's silence doesn't necessarily mean they don't want reconciliation. Instead, it's often part of a power game. They know you might hope for a reunion, but they deliberately withhold it. By maintaining silence, they create a powerful distance, forcing you to question, blame, and even reach out first. If you take the initiative to contact them and express a desire to reconcile, it reinforces their position. They might exploit this situation by ignoring you, acting cold or being evasive, leaving you in a state of unease and self-doubt. In doing so, they retain mental control, while you spiral into frustration and longing. Their behavior is essentially a calculated strategy to reinforce their fragile ego and maintain power over a relationship that has already ended. Behind their silence, lies a fear of losing influence and the need to preserve the image they project to others. Instead of confronting their true emotions, they choose to manipulate the situation, ensuring you play by their rules. If one day the narcissist stops manipulating you, does it mean their perception of you has changed? The answer is yes, but don't be disheartened, because this change is entirely beneficial for you. Previously, in the eyes of a narcissist, you were merely an easy prey, someone they could control and manipulate to satisfy their ego and maintain power. They saw in you vulnerability, boundless compassion, and a lack of boundaries that they could exploit. But now, things have shifted. As you grow stronger, more self-assured, and start to love and respect yourself, they realize you are no longer suitable to be their victim. You're no longer an easy supply they can exploit. Think of a narcissist as a vulture, preying only on weak, easily overwhelmed targets. When you stand firm, set clear boundaries, and refuse to let them cross them, they will turn their attention to other prey people they perceive as easier to exploit. This doesn't mean they've changed or improved, but simply that you no longer fit their agenda. Their ceasing to manipulate you is a testament that you've shed the role of the victim. You're on a path of healing, rebuilding, and reclaiming your self-worth. This is truly the most wonderful thing. View this shift as a clear sign that you've regained control over your life. Whether or not they find a new supply is no longer your concern. Ultimately, all relationships with narcissists end the same way, with emotional exhaustion, manipulation, and harm. But you've escaped that toxic cycle, and now your sole focus should be on yourself. Take time to love and care for yourself, building the life you deserve. Your happiness does not lie in the hands of a narcissist, but within yourself. They may be gone, but the light you've found within will propel you forward with strength and peace. You've won, and that's something to be immensely proud of. Remember, the best defense is not avoidance, but an offense of building inner strength and establishing clear, firm boundaries. When you become confident, resilient, and aware of your worth, a narcissist has no chance of manipulating you, no matter who they are or whether they try to come back. Do not hold out hope for a narcissist to change. They may return with an apologetic facade, sweet words, and seemingly sincere actions, but be cautious. It's all a ploy to drag you back into the toxic cycle they've created. Narcissists don't change because they don't acknowledge their flaws. They only seek to maintain power and control. Trust your instincts and the experiences you've overcome. If you need time to think or wish to set clear boundaries, be direct with them. Don't be surprised if they quickly move on to another target, as this is their nature, always searching for a new supply to feed their fragile ego. You deserve genuine love and respect from people who cherish your value, not from those who exploit your emotions for manipulation. Don't let anyone, especially a narcissist, rob you of your right to be loved and respected. Stand strong, protect yourself, and build a life of peace where you are free to be your authentic self. Shame is a significant weakness for narcissists, and when they avoid hoovering, it's a sign that you've regained control and escaped their manipulative cycle. They cannot face failure, expose their vulnerability, or endure the feeling of losing power, but this very avoidance is a testament to your strength. Remember, their silence is not forgiveness or remorse, it's their way of shielding their fragile ego. You don't need their validation, and you certainly don't need to return to that toxic cycle. Keep focusing on your healing journey, building strong boundaries, and prioritizing your own happiness. You are stronger than you realize, and the freedom you're experiencing is the result of rejecting their control. Let the past rest, and keep moving forward. Your life is worth far more than anything a narcissist could offer. You deserve peace, genuine love, and respect. Always remember, you've won, and that's what they hate most. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.